Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and in today's video, sponsored by the makers of Call of Dragons, we're going to go work on our pets a little bit because there is a reset window on when you can get your 2-star and 1-star skills, and there's a limit to the number of those that you can get, and the reset window is in less than 12 hours. So I really want to capitalize on the fact that I can outright buy some 2-star skills. We'll talk about which ones you might get if you're a spender or which ones you might get if you are a lower spender or free to play, okay? Now, there is, as I mentioned, limits. 5 for these 2-star skills, 1 I already got at some point, and then 35 for the 1-star skill. So we're going to get a look at my pets and see what kind of upgrades we can do. Generally speaking, though, big spenders, rally, garrison type folks should be looking at the more expensive skills that you aren't going to catch. For example, you almost certainly aren't going to catch high-level Fatal Bite, right? You almost certainly aren't going to catch some of the things like Intense Pain Bloom, Intense Friendship, Intense Concentration, Intense Frost Armor, Intense Ice Core, if you were actually using one of those pets, Intense Infection, etc. You get the idea. So if you're a big spender, you're going for those. But even if you're free to play, then or a light spender, you can go in and pick up some things that make sense. And there are some very, very cheap skills that are really, really good. So I know that I really want to continue to push the power level on Hooty over here. This is a Night Rock, because the synergy of this pet is so disgusting with getting crits. I have a moderate agility score on this pet. I can take advantage of the fact that, hey, wait a minute, I could upgrade this skill, and we are going to do it right now. That's right. I'm so confident that this is what I'm going to buy with my 4 2-star skills that we're just going to do it now. Now, if I knew for sure what was going to happen next season with Infantry, I might approach this differently. And I might be trying to build a Stripe Bear. This is because we got teased an artifact. Technically, it's in-game. I talked about this in a prior video, so I won't go too in-depth on it here. But we got shown an artifact that is doing a healing synergy. So the theory right now is that we're about to get a big healing infantry commander. Hero, I guess I should say. Maybe. The Ancient Entanglements, and it's right over here. When a legion receives healing via a hero skill, artifact cooldown is reduced. So that doesn't mean, however, that a Stripe Bear is actually going to be the best pet for the new heroes, unfortunately. So, like, maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. We don't know. So I could just speculate and move all in on a Stripe Bear now, and I would look like a genius if it works out, or I would feel kind of silly if that's what I did, and that's not at all the situation. So I think my game plan is just going to be to work on some stuff that I've already got here, all right? So I know that I'm going to keep using this for a while, presumably. We're going to go over here, we're going to do this skill upgrade, and I'm going to pick the cheaper skill, giving myself about 1.5% more crit rate. Not only has amazing synergy with Sinfray or Magze, but also has incredible synergy with the talent skill over here, which depends on your critting your normal attacks. If you do that, then you may do extra damage factor. So let's go in and do our skill upgrade here. There it is. We're actually going to snap this off, and this is a very cheap skill, which is a part of the reason that I am on board for this, okay? So we're going to do this. I'm hesitant, but I'm just going to, it's done. Done with it. It's been completed, GG's. If I was feeling more spendy, I could have done this skill over here, right? There's other skills I could have done that are obviously much more costly. Now, from here, what do we do? Well, I've used up all my 2-star skill upgrades, but I have 1-star skill upgrade. And there are several pets that I'm like actually a little disappointed in myself that I didn't upgrade mid-season as I was using them. One of them is the Frost Bear. I didn't expect I would use this nearly as much as I did. And I used the heck out of a Frost Bear because in the final zone, my Goresh Skogul basically lived in a bastion the entire time, and I never got to field with it. Kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. So I can do some skill upgrades here that I think are pretty reasonable. And I don't want to commit very heavily to this Frostbear. If I was doing a rethinking of how I wanted to tool or kit out this pet, I think what I would go and do is I would do a full damage-oriented build. So as an example, what I mean by that is the sort of Fatal Bite, Tooth and Claw package that you typically see, Blood Roar and Angry Roar. That package of skills is what you might expect to see. And they're like, boom, there's 4 skills right there. And theoretically, I mean, I don't know, it actually is kind of tempting. I would do, let's see here, I said Fatal Bite, Tooth and Claw. That would put me at 3 strength skills, which would be reasonable. And then Blood Roar is a luck skill, so we're fine there. And I think Angry Roar, yeah, that's a super reasonable skill. That's an agility skill. So, like, I could do that. I have such a low agility score. Oh my gosh. My strength scores are very high. I don't know. I mean, I wish I had more skill slots on this pet. But that strength rating is so gross. It's actually kind of nuts what I got there. And anytime I try to re-roll this guy and regenerate it, I mean, like, here's an example. I could end up with a high agility score, but, like, look how low the strength score is. And I landed an extra slot, but I just, like, I just don't think that's worth it, you know? All right, so let's pull the trigger on some updates here for the Frostbear. I think that a much better package is to go in and take that more damage-oriented route. If you can get, like, 7 or 8 skill slots, it would be ideal. But I'm just going to do these very cheap upgrades and call it a W for now and leave it there. And I think I'm okay with that for now. Worst case, I've used up some 1-star skills. It's not that big of a deal. And for what it's worth, the way that I was primarily using 1-star skills in the past was actually, oh, look at that. This is a pretty cheap one too. I could take this to 3 stars, but I'm not that confident in that particular skill, to be honest. It's a good one. Counterattack is great for infantry. I'll take it. This is fine. But let's go get a look at some of these other pets that I've got and some things that I can do. Because if I'm not mistaken, here we go. We could do a few upgrades on this that I feel like would be pretty legit and would stick with me for a while. Like, okay, I'm going to need more of this currency, but getting resonance to 2 stars feels like it would be kind of a nice upgrade. I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty minor, but I'll take damage upgrades where I can get them. So to do this, I actually need a little bit more currency. I'm going to go to the pet shop. One day I accidentally purchased a bunch of extra dragon tickets. So I've got a few left over, so I can go to this market exchange. And it's these $10 dragon tickets I got a bunch of. So I can just snap that off real quick. Add a few more of those to the collection. And let's go get the skills I want here. And I may need to go in and get more of this currency anyways. But I would like to upgrade this skill. So let's do it now. We make our way over to, where'd he go? Here? Skills. Skill upgrade. And let's do resonance. And I just buy 4 of them and call it a day. 1, 2, 3, 4. Easy. If I had an end of season skill to put on here, I would. And I think you could do some really cool stuff with that. I don't. It is what it is. But that's a nice upgrade. Now that leaves me with a small number of skills left here. Let's see. I still have 7. What else can I go and upgrade? What were my main pets this season? I mean, we know that the Venom Lizard was chilling. We've already gone in and done my Night Rock. I did not use the Snow Peak Rock almost at all, unfortunately. I used a lot of the Shadow Phaedrake here. This is in a good place now. Like I said, this is just a placeholder. It's going to get replaced, so I don't really want to invest in that too much. This pet's pretty much done ski in terms of things that I could buy that would be reasonable. I do have this pet, There is some stuff I could do here. This is such a weird one, this particular pet. Man, this is a crazy healing sand lizard, and it is very good for that. I sort of debate, like, will I turn this into a pet I use with infantry at some point? Because, like, this healing is just insane. But I could go in and I could do, like, chain strike. Eviscerate I have low confidence in. I mean, it's pretty good on a Mag's A, but otherwise, gosh, what should I do here? This pet is a very likely candidate for some upgrades here. I haven't really built a Berserk Phaedrake, but I also, like, almost never use the cavalry that go with that anymore. I could totally stand to build a Golden Rock. Haven't done that either. I've got a lot of pets that, like, I could stand to build, but for the sake of completeness, I will reiterate that the main things I'm running are my Sapphire, my Shadow, my Night Rock, my Frostbear over here, obviously the Venom Lizard, and, like, I think this ends up being the pet I need to work on. Darn it. Now, one strategy to this whole thing is to also just buy the skills in advance and hope for the best, right? So, like, I could just buy some skills that I think I will need. I've got a lot of things that I've harvested from pets here that I could sell, by the way, for coins if I wanted to. But I could just buy a bunch of things I think I need and let them sit in the inventory and then commit them later, which is honestly very tempting. And there's a bunch of skills that we know generally are very good and would be great to have for that purpose. If I set my filter here to 1-star skills, because I can get 7 of them, the ones that I think are some of the very best, if you're just snapping things off to have them around, would include Tooth and Claw. I think that Eviscerate and Blood for Blood can be pretty good. Hit Back can be pretty good as well. All of those, Timely Strike can be pretty good. Hit Weakness is reasonable and cheap. Angry Roar is a big one, although very expensive to just buy and have sit around. Fatal Bite, Blood Roar, those are big ones, but very expensive to have sit around. Chain Strike's a big one. Again, kind of expensive to have sit around. I like Resonance for your magic pets. And gosh, here's Intense Friendship. I'm just so tempted to work on a Frostbear and to just get some of that or not a Frostbear, a Stripe Bear, and get some of those foundations in place. And either I'm going to look like a genius or a bozo for having done it. One last thing I'll mention for this video, as I then go and struggle to figure out what to do with my last 7 skills here and how I'd like to deploy them, would be to point out that you can still use this technique to harvest skills off your pet. And this is one final thing you could do with a bunch of cheap 1-star skills is, for example, you could regenerate a pet. This one would be maybe not the best example, but you could take a pet like this one. If you wanted to harvest this 1-star talent skill off the pet from recycling it, okay? What you could do is you could get a bunch of these shield breakers cheaply, drop them onto here, upgrade it to 2 stars, regenerate until there's only 2 skills on this thing, and then you're much more likely to get the talent skill. So in a best case, you get the talent skill. In a worst case, you end up with the 2-star skill, which is yet another thing you could do with your final pet skill pickups if you wanted. I mean, I could work on another infantry pet. I don't know. This was planned for marksman, but then I was maybe wanting to use it on infantry. This thing's honestly kind of amazing. Dude, this pet's got some stuff. Gosh bless. I should catch some more sand lizards, do more upgrades on this thing. Oh, man. This is actually super viable. But you know what? If you're looking for some detailed pet guides, I'll have cards in the end screen right over here in just a second. One will be about the sand lizard, and I'll give you another one. I'm going to talk about the Night Rock. I feel like my build for the Night Rock is really, really good. Part of that's because of the attributes that are on my pet, but I'll put my Night Rock, very detailed, nerdy stuff I did figuring out how to build this thing. Card will be in the end screen if you want to see it.